now because the dollar has been a little bit more strong and powerful in Eurozone countries as they collapse. So we are seeing, of course, second, third, fourth, fifth passports. We're seeing wealthy Americans buy up other parts of the world as they escape what I believe is an imminent collapse of the United States of America. Now, Goldman Sachs has also warned that UK inflation could top an astounding 22% next year amid spiraling energy costs, one of the starkest projections so far. The bank estimates that the UK economy would contract 3.4% in that scenario. 22% multi-decade record inflation prints with a collapsing growth economy with no undercurrent to support the upside-down pyramid scheme, which is what we see here in America, of course, with Social Security, Medicare, welfare, all of this socialism that cannot be supported by students that now need a massive student loan debt bailout because they can't find jobs, they don't have good income, and the whole system is breaking down before our very eyes. Again, trust this plan, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly what they want. This has been organized by politicians in power over several decades through infinite bailouts, manipulation at the central bank with 0% interest rates, and everything else that they've done in recent years. You can also see the US dollar per UK pound sterling through many of the financial crises and panics and World War events, which we're in now, World War III. You can see the financial panic of 1857, the U.S. Civil War, Great Depression, World War II, the Plaza Accord, of course, the recent Brexit vote, and what they'll print probably in the coming months, World War III, and how that'll impact currency markets as well. It's also interesting to note that this energy shock is so terrible, so grotesque, that day-to-day businesses in the UK are failing to survive. Also, Germany is warning of Russia gas supply woes and says it will test European unity in the coming days. It's also important to note that Germany, I believe it was, will not extend the lifetime of its remaining nuclear power plants. So at the same time, there's an energy crisis, hyperinflation, stagflation, no growth around the world. All of these problems, world war, they're actually going to get rid of the nuclear power plants that are actually providing energy sources to the people and populations, only compounding, honestly, the problem that we are already seeing. Also, we had a historian, Niall Ferguson, also warning in the news here from MarketWatch. He says it will be far worse than the 1970s stagflationary event that many of you baby boomers are probably somewhat familiar with. So CNBC, Deutsche Bank says risk of a sterling crisis is rising as Truss becomes UK Prime Minister. Euro slides below 99 cents after Russia halts gas supplies to Europe. Of course, the nuclear power plant in Ukraine has also gone offline. This could cause a cascading nuclear event and potential fallout to Eurozone countries. And the article that I just read to you, courtesy of the Wall Street Journal, calling for a British pound sterling collapse and what I believe will eventually be a US dollar collapse. 1,200-year-old pub is fighting for survival amid cost of living crisis. California declaring a grid emergency for the 5th day in a row. Telling people not to charge their cars, their Teslas. They can't even handle the current energy demand. Yet, at the same time, they're allegedly in 2035 going to ban gasoline cars and force everybody onto the energy grid that can't even support the current energy needs, but they're going to move everyone over by 2035 to self-driving electric cars. Well, I call BS on that. The super rich, of course, that have been fleeing the United States, prepping with billions of dollars to save themselves from the apocalypse, whether or not this is billionaires like Peter Thiel and many others, Eric Schmidt, that have now gotten second, third passports outside of the United States and are dropping millions of dollars in places like New Zealand and other locations as they prepare for worst case scenarios and what they've called, Elon Musk says, population collapse is more of a concern than population growth, citing that you must have children to preserve the general population. Here we have Jeff Bezos flying up on a space yacht just a couple of months ago during the lockdowns, rubbing it in everybody's faces while you were not allowed to travel. Consumers feeling worse now than they did during the original lockdowns. Consumer sentiment dropping to new all-time lows as Americans feel the brunt of, again, the exact political governance that has been allowed to take place in recent months. Ukraine says Russian shelling disconnects the nuclear power plant from the grid. Again, you've got about a week or two's time before full nuclear meltdown. So let's pray that the grid goes back and comes back online. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in a dire situation in westernized nations. We are on the imminent trajectory of currency collapse. This is all about a currency reset, getting out of the petrodollar, getting out of British pound sterlings, as we've seen currencies collapse in history's past, as we look back to the failing civilization of Rome, the clipping of currency, inflation. All of this is happening before our very eyes today, and it's so important that you get prepared. This is not a sales pitch, ladies and gentlemen. You need to get out of...
And whatsoever you shall ask in my name, that will I do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you shall ask anything in my name, I will do it. If ye love me, keep my